welcome. Welcome back, I think. I don't know, my internet just sort of crapped out. The thing that's weird is that for the past 2 months, I don't know, my internet just sort of crapped out. I never had problems with my internet, ever. And for a while I was even able to stream, and I wasn't even hardwired with the internet into my modem or anything. And then I actually hardwired into it probably like a month and a half ago. I got like a 50 long cable and ran it down my roof and down the side of my house and back into my living room. And it almost seems like that ended up working out worse, like in the long run. So, here we are, we're back. And I'm the worst live streamer because I am terrible at understanding how all this crap works. So in terms of live streaming, I pretty much just go from the Elgato software with my YouTube channel typed into it, and it pretty much just works from there. I ought to do it. He was my best friend.
I'm the only one who can. The shard experiments prepared me for combat. Let them amount to something. 10 whole years. What put me in that sleep?
So even just this cutscene here, I'm looking at it, and for it being the Switch, it doesn't look bad, but you know, this is like a 32-inch. And I can see where, like, on this Miriam here, like her model looks a little bit pixely and not so great around the edges of like her clothes and stuff.
I wish I had the answer.
But I'm really wondering if this version is as bad as
All I
people
know
are kind of
is the spell
saying
that stopped
that it
time for
is.
you was advanced, arcane. But by observing the ebb of the magic's hold on you, I was able to predict exactly when you would wake up.
Oh, I see.
We'll make landfall soon. You should get ready. I had the chest there packed with essential equipment. Now would be a good time to put it on.
And yeah, I guess I can see a little bit how it doesn't run so smooth. I am back. We are back. Well, the Switch version came out today, and I saw, I don't know if you know, like Switch Force, they had a video, and RGT85, he also had a video. There's a couple people saying that
The next order of business is to...
this game only runs at 30 FPS as opposed to 60, and that it's kind of possible that, you know, it runs a little bit shittier than it should, and that the Switch release was kind of held back a week so that everybody would praise how great it played and how great of a game it was. And not that this version's that bad, but it's less comparable to PS4 and Xbox. Yeah, we all heard of Etika. And that's why I was going to play this as soon as I woke up today. It's crazy because I woke up and after about 3 minutes it just started pouring. And I immediately put in, I was watching this live stream of this news dude and he's been covering it for the past few days. And so unfortunately it was confirmed.
I'll take care of it.
It's surreal. You know, I'm not even like a hardcore fan, but there's no denying how big of an influence he had and how just gigantic of a person he was. And just how gigantic his persona still is, you know, even though he's gone, like, it's too bad. And, you know, like, I think at some point everyone's struggled with, you know, feeling like that and just feeling low, and I know that I have. More so when I was a teenager, and even a little bit recently, I've been going through like a little bit of a rough time, but I've just always persevered, and I've had other friends. One of my good friends, I was only like really friends with him for like 3 months, but we became like bros, and then he moved back like an hour and a half away from me. And I don't even know what happened, but one day he came back to my mom's house, and I had moved at that point. He knocked on the door. He was looking for me. I wasn't there. He got my number from my mom, and I never heard it from him. And then like a week later, he got in trouble for having like illegal guns or something. And like the FBI and stuff was looking for him, and I just never heard from him again. A couple days later, he was found dead. He shot himself, and it was just too bad. You know, he was only 27 or 28. This was like, only feels like 2 years ago, but it was probably like 4 years ago. He's like the only friend that I've had that killed himself. I've had bunch of other friends. One, he got dragged out to the Bronx by drug dealers and brought up to the top of a apartment building, and they put like 3 bullets in him. And that was too bad because he was one of my long childhood friends, and I had like recently before that reconnected with him, but he just got too bad into drugs, and it was like somebody else they owed, this giant like drug dealer from like Queens or the Bronx. They owed him like 10 grand, and they sort of put it on his head, and he basically got arrested. He snitched because he couldn't take it. And it was weird because I saw him in front of my mom's house one day, and he just was standing there in front of my mom's fence, and I was like, dude, what the hell are you doing here? And he was like, oh, I'm here right across the street at my friend's house. Like, I'm here with my aunt, and basically in 10 minutes I'm moving away. And he was moving like 3 or 4 hours away. He's like, I'm getting out of the drugs, getting away from everything, and like starting a new life. I got like a job set up. He was an artist. He was like, great artist, great painter. He was like, I have this new painting job set up. And he went out there for, I don't know, probably like 3 or 4 days or something. And then he got lured back here, and they basically, the people that took him out to the Bronx and shot him, they pretty much abducted him from the front of a supermarket, and they threw him in the car, and there was like footage of that going around. And you know, no one ever saw him again. It took like 2 weeks to find him, and it was just crazy. I'm here for you too. I never get to that point, but it's like, yeah, life is just crazy. You get down at times, and you know, it's like, yeah, no matter what, you kind of just have to keep pushing forward and going toward the light and just being positive. It's like, I've got other friends. I've had several other friends, you know, before I was even 25 that died. Like, just a couple years ago, one of my good friends, he overdosed on, like, a whole bunch of drugs.
I thought the procedure had halted the corruption.
He was a good bro of mine. Me and him, we spent a lot of like rough times together.
I know my body's limits better than anyone, and I'm going to need all the power I can get. If I run into trouble, you can help me. You've done it before.
Thanks for giving me a choice in the matter.
But yeah, life's
I won't
crazy.
let you down. Just promise you won't push yourself.
Oh man.
How did they get inside?
The demons from the castle must have infested the ship.
They got in through the door.
Then they can help me wake up these muscles of mine. I'll wipe the deck with them.
That's cool that this music was in the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. I don't know if any of you guys ever played that at all. Whoa. That was a good game though. I was playing that a couple days ago. I mean, I guess I could see where this game more than likely just overall looks smoother on PS4, like, you know, with the ship swaying here, you see like these lines on the floor and on the barrels. Kind of, I don't even know what you call that.
To magic. Maybe I just need to hold my hand up to it.
But it definitely looks a little bit sub HD. It's weird. Use both the thumbsticks to kind of open the door. Curse of the Moon was great. When I got that, I was just expecting it to be alright. Everyone, you know, they said that it was a Castlevania clone, like an old school. I was like, alright, we'll see how good that is. But for $10, even though it was a little bit short, I mean, that was still like a good couple hours of fun. And it was cool that you could play through it and either collect all the characters or kind of kill them and take their abilities and just progress through the game. And it was pretty cool that, like, even this game I don't think has multiple characters where you're gonna control and like take their power and then actually scroll through the different characters to jump distances or like throw daggers or like the long distance whip. Like, that was pretty cool for that game. I'd like to see another style of game like that come out for like a Castlevania game where it has that mechanic where you have multiple characters and you scan through them to jump different distances. Because that was cool that there was, you know, several different paths, like every other room where you could go high, you could go low, you could be like the Dracula and take like the long distance jump. I bet it's looking great on the X specifically. Maybe at some point I'll get it for the Xbox One. Because I have one, but it's more like my kids. And it's downstairs on the big TV. And I actually tried streaming from it last week with the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And I was trying to play Forza. And it worked alright. It was a little bit laggy. I had to put it at like 420p. Cause I had it up to like 1080 and it just was lagging. And every time I'd catch up with it, I was crashing into shit. So hey Lappy, how you doing, man? I've been checking back at your channel every like now and then. It seems like you after your recovery and stuff, you just probably been busy playing just games and working and shit, yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He just sort of fell apart. Hanging in there, you put a video. Yeah, I was gonna watch that. Like I saw it right as I opened up YouTube and was going for the live stream. Yeah, I always check your channel. I check like every couple days, and then after like, I mean, your last video was like the game room tour, and that was probably like a good 4 weeks. Maybe even a little more. But like every couple days I go and check in with your channel or see if there's anything new going on. Just to see, especially with like notifications and stuff. You know, usually every day I go through and at least check all the notifications because I'm subscribed to probably like a good 200 or 300 channels at least. And man, that was a good game room tour. You said that you cleaned your shit up specifically for the video, but like, dude, it was looking good. You know, I wish I had an actual game room. I wish I had all the games that I ever had. Like, even just like 3 years ago, I probably got rid of probably like 30 like Xbox 360 games that I had. And there were several others when I started letting my kid play Xbox 360 when he was like 2. And he trashed quite a few of my games. Like, I had to rebuy Marvel Ultimate Alliance because he trashed that. Alright, was I supposed to go back to this guy that was over here? Yeah, I'm sort of a, I guess, YouTube addict. Like, I watch too much YouTube. But it's basically what inspired me to actually start doing my own stuff. And recently I haven't really been watching as much, but it's been getting nice out. Oh, that's cool. We got the Mega Man slide going on. So yeah, I was going to buy Crash Team Racing the other day. And then I just decided I would save my money and get this instead. And I think I made the right choice. Because honestly, I'm still going to get that because I love Crash Team Racing. I haven't played that game in at least a good 10 years, but I have the original. And at first I just thought it was just the original game just redone. But then when I found out it was pretty much both the Crash Team Racing games. Like, was it Crash Team Racing and then the Crash Team something, whatever the hell it was. And they basically redid both of those games and crammed it together. That's when I was like, oh man, yeah, Friday. That's gonna be about it for Mario Maker 1. Oh, that's what you do, Leppy, is drive? You're a driver? Dude, I've been having such a hard freaking time. Like, I have OBS. I have Streamlabs OBS. And I'm currently just streaming through the Elgato software. You go into the little right panel, and then you can just put in your YouTube name, your password, and then at the bottom it just says stream, and it'll go to it, and it'll just say that you're live in YouTube, and then you can just go over to your YouTube channel, put in the thumbnail. You can even type in the title and stuff on the Delgado software, and that's been my best luck. Whenever I try to go through like OBS, like the last time I actually streamed, wait, what the hell did I just do? Yeah, I went through OBS, I went to YouTube, I got the stream key, I put the stream key in OBS, and I tried to set it up for, you know, like 20 minutes down the line. And when I actually did that, you know, I go to my YouTube page like on my phone, and I'm like, alright, upcoming event, live stream from my channel, live in 20 minutes. I'm like, alright, cool. And then once it actually went live, then all of a sudden I was like, okay, so how do I actually go live? And I'm like in like Streamlabs, and I was like, I can't figure this out. Like, I'm playing on here, all the stuff's up, it's, you know, it says that it's like live, and then I just said screw it, I closed out OBS. The live now thing on YouTube for my channel disappeared, you know, actually on YouTube. And then oh, I thought I died. It's like, what the hell? I forget what I was saying. The Delgado. I don't even have that strong of a PC. I mean, I pretty much bought this PC for YouTube, and that was like 3 months ago. And I got like I don't know, it goes for like 1,000 or sometimes 1,200. I got for like 800. And it's like a Dell, or it's a HP, it's an i7 595-P0084, but it's 16 gigs DDR4, 2666 RAM. It's an i7 8700, 1 terabyte hard drive, 128 PCIe, 2 solid state drive with integrated UHD graphics 630. i7 7800 GTX, that's probably stronger than mine. Since then, I've done a little bit more look into it, because for like the past 8 years, I've just had like a $500 laptop, which I let one of my friends use. And of course, he, you know, prawned and spammed it all up, so the thing, it might as well not even be a laptop. It's kind of just a screen that you can, it annoys you. And if you want to view pictures and stuff like that, like, You can't even watch like you can watch YouTube videos on it, but you can't watch live YouTube videos on it. It's like download Flash Media Player and all this other stuff, and that's what always made me upset with computers. It's like, hello, what you doing?
My chicken nuggets are done, and
Oh yeah?
and the timer won't stop. Just keep on going.
You shut it off, you mean?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay, so then they're still going. Right?
It was literally at the stop point, and still keeping on going.
So they're done or no? Alright, Leppy, have a good night, man. I'll talk to you again at some point. For sure. Do you have, like, Twitter? I think... Do you have a Twitter, or do you just have, like, Instagram? Because it's the same with Jace from Overthink. Like, I only end up really talking to him in, like, the comments. He's like, oh, hit me up on Instagram, and I had an Instagram at one point, but I just don't... I really only do Twitter, and then I have a Facebook. But it's kind of just my personal. I have never really set one up for you know, YouTube. It's like these days you gotta have like all 10 of them. Like, oh, follow me on my Twitter, and follow me on my Mixer, and follow me on Twitch, and follow me on Instagram, and follow me on... There's too many of them. I can't even think of the other ones. Man, these little golds are tiny. Gotta collect that gill. Yeah, I think Leppy, he's on the... Or where does he live? I think he's Ohio. So, man, that sucks for him if it's only... It's probably 8:30 there for him. It's right here for me, it's 9:30. I'm on the East Coast. So yeah, if he's getting up at like 3 in the morning and then hitting the road at like 5, that's a long day. I mean, that's good money. I thought about doing that at one point. I don't even know what I'm really doing here. Okay, here's the map. Alright, I don't want that many waypoints set. Yeah, I watched this video, it was like an hour ago, 2 hours ago. I ended up not watching the whole thing though. What you doing, Ethan? I need to get some health or I'm gonna die. Yeah. I mean, so far, like, I don't know if you know Switch Force, but the guy on there, he's been playing it for the past week on PS4. So he said that, you know, when the Switch version was coming out, he was, you know, excited to play it, and he pretty much, at like the last day or two, was like, all right, I'll save some of this game for the Switch version. Then he was going to go through the whole thing again and pretty much play it on the Switch. And then he said that when he saw it, you know, it's only running at 30 FPS, which I guess if you've been playing this for the past week, on PS4, you would actually feel and like notice the difference. But I guess for other people that, you know, I guess for the other people that have only played this, you probably wouldn't really notice it too much. And this is my first time playing it, so I don't really notice anything other than I've been watching trailers, and I did watch some reviews that were on like Xbox One or X or PS4 or PS4 Pro. And not so much here because you have like the weather, you have the boat moving and stuff. But it's like I said, like right here, I don't know if you can see that if you're watching on like a phone maybe, but just like around like her chest and her armpit, and not really so much like her hair or even like her arm. Like she's got like this armlet thing, but like her armpit line, you can see as it moves, it twinkles, and that's like, you know, like the sub HD kind of twinkle, and you can see it when things are standing still, which even someone said initially, they were like on the Switch Force video, they were like, you know, there is a day one patch for this, so if you're not using that, it might look a little worse. But they're like, really, I don't see any difference in the game, and maybe your video is a little unwarranted. And I think really, other than that, it's a little bit sub HD, and he probably mostly played in handheld, so, you know, I haven't actually pulled it out of the Switch yet. Maybe I should do that right now. Well, since I'm going through Elgato, then it'll probably shut the stream off. Or when I put it back in, it'll just mess it up. So maybe at the end of the stream, I'll pull it out and see how it looks handheld. It's probably a little bit blurry. That's what I say. I'm not a graphics snob. Like, to me, a good game is a good game. I mean, I guess if it looked worse than this, or if the lines and stuff on the character models and like just the movement of things, if it was blurrier and less enjoyable or just more of a distraction, I might have a little bit of a problem with it. But I guess it all depends just what you're into, what kind of game it is. Because it's like, it's still clear, it's still crisp. Like this little monster guy, it's like you can see the lines around him when he moves, but like the sky looks good, the boat looks good, the rain at the bottom here, like coming down off the edge of this ship that I'm on, that all looks clean. I think it has more to do with how they sort of cel shaded a little bit, like the characters and the enemies are like this box to kind of stick off of the background. Okay, that's cool. I opened up a secret door. You think so, heavy hitter? Because it did look pretty fluid, which even at 30 FPS, I mean, it's not so much that it's slower, it's just that you have half the frame, so like every slice and dice, you're only seeing half as much of it as you would on a PS4 or Xbox. So I think that definitely does, hinder it a lot. But I guess it is sort of strange that you think about how this game for the Switch came out the extra week later, just so that people would buy it because it got such good praise on like PS4 and Xbox. Yeah, that's the way I see it. It's like, I guess it all depends the game. I mean, like I said, I could have bought this on Xbox, and maybe I still might, even though once I start playing this, there's really no need. But like, I'll get used to it. It's not too terrible. It's nothing game-breaking, but you can see like around these window panes as the boat moves, you have these like strobing lines, and it does look less than desirable, I guess you could say. But I mean, they might patch it at some point, probably not. And then you got the people saying that this is like the reason we need like a Switch Pro. But, you know, I'm not too picky. The game's still good, so I'm liking it. What up, John? How are you doing, man? And, you know, heavy hitter, like, you know, you can be picky. We can all be picky. If you reserve the right to be picky, then, you know, you totally can be. So it's not that big of a deal, especially, you know, if you got PC, PS4, like, if you got all of them, you might as well play it in its highest quality. Like, you know, I still might decide to get this on the Xbox. Which, even if I just brought the Switch and the dock downstairs to my other TV, it would look better, because this TV was like, you know, it's just like a cheap, like, $100 TV. So I notice a lot of games don't really look that good, and then when I actually hook it up to my bigger TV, which is more expensive, it just, everything looks a lot better. Like, all the colors in, like, Breath of the Wild, or even something like this, it would just look way better. Oh, you only have a Switch? So did you play this yet? Like, at all? Or just on Switch? Or did you, like, see another version of it at all? Yeah, that's sort of, you know, I looked at PS4 trailers, Xbox trailers, and it looked good on all of them. And I'm sure even on the Switch trailer, they probably have PS4 footage. Either that or they polish up the trailer nicely. Yeah, I watched some of his video, and he basically said that it wasn't that bad. But I mean, it's not the first case of a game coming out after, even if it's just a week. Like, you know, a game coming out later than the other versions and it being worse than what we thought. I forget the first game that was like that. There was one of the first games, maybe like, yeah?
I got the chicken nuggets out, but I'm trying to stop it cooking, but there's nothing in there.
Okay. I'll come down and help you out. I'll be right back, folks. I have returned. Yeah, portability. Portability rules. Like, I had never played Resident Evil 4. Ever. And I recently played the crap out of that. I put like 20, probably like 24 hours into it. That was another one I was gonna buy. But then, like Virtual Racing's coming out, and that's only $7.99. But I'm gonna be buying that. I haven't played that game in like 20 years at least. And then Mario Maker's coming out, and then Fire Emblem's coming out, and there's just too many games. Yeah, he probably won't review it. Even then, I think he used to do like real reviews, and then recently it's just like kind of like the few I've done on my channel where you just kind of play it for 10 minutes and show what's good about it and what's not. Yeah, I see we got yeah, Virtual Racing. That's $7.99. That's a game I gotta get. Just for nostalgia, because I played that back on the 32X back in the day. My brothers got it. So we got, yeah, Mario Maker, and yeah, Red Faction comes out. Okay, so Fire Emblem's further. Yeah, okay. So Dragon Quest Builders 2, that's one that I'm buying. So that's in another 2 weeks after Mario Maker. Then Ultimate Alliance. I'm probably gonna skip that. I'm definitely getting Dragon Quest 11, Pokemon, Link's Awakening, Astral Chain. I really hadn't looked at much of that game, but it's looking really good, and I'm more than likely going to get that. Same for Fire Emblem. I've never played a Fire Emblem, but I think it's about time to get into that. And no, I didn't play Shakedown Hawaii either, because what was... I forget the other game that I bought at that time. I think it was Fuse Soar. No, I don't think I've heard of that. I think the game that I bought instead of Shakedown was oh, what the hell is it called? I did a video on it. I don't know why I'm blanking out. Yeah, why can't I think of that? Yeah, it's just game after game. Some of them aren't great. Some of them are way better than, you know, what you thought they would be. But like, yeah, they just keep coming out and coming out and coming out, and it's $60 here and $15 there and $24.99 there, and then another $30 and then $40 and then $60, and it's like, yeah, they just keep coming out. It's a good thing. I'm not really complaining, but like, yeah, when there's so many games that you're like, there's this one and this one, and rather than spending 60 for this one and 60 for the other one, I can spend 60 on this top tier game, which I definitely want. But then there's this other, you know, like Cadence of Hyrule, like I bought that was $24.99. It's like, alright, I'll buy that, I guess. And then it was like, oh, and then Bloodstained's coming out, as well as the Crash Team Racing, and those are both 40. And then Mario Maker's at the end of the week, so it's like, you know, that's another $140 if I were to be getting all three. Yeah, Advance Wars, that would be cool. I never played I never played either. I thought about buying either Fire Emblem or Advance Wars, because I have like 10 bucks on my Wii U eShop, and they have both the first Fire Emblem, and I think they have all 3 Advance Wars games, and they're $7.99 on there. So I've thought about getting those. Although, I mean, it's a good price. Like, you can't go wrong. I would probably rather play something like Advance Wars on an actual Game Boy Advance, which I don't own. That was one of the ones I never owned, and I really wish I could go back in time and just go ahead and just buy one. I don't know why I never did. It's like, because I'm a big Nintendo fan. Like, I always have been. I had, you know, the NES, even though when my brother moved, he took that, which at some point I want to have him bring over the box of NES games, because we used to just get so many of them. My mom used to just go to the Goodwill store and pick them up for like $1. And so he has a box of probably like close to 200 games, and a lot of them are ones now that have come up in the retro scene, you know, as rare as you know, the little side dish games that not everyone's looking for, but you don't see them every day, the little filler titles, and some of them are just worth a lot, and it's like, I remember having all those games. And then some of them are actually like my cartridges, and when he moved, he just kind of took them with him, along with the Sega, and not so much the N64. That was kind of both of ours, and then I ended up getting one. But yeah, the Nintendo, and then we never had a Super Nintendo growing up. I did get a Super Nintendo probably almost 10 years ago now. I paid like 60 bucks, and it came with, you know, Super Mario World, it came with All-Stars, it came with a copy of Final Fantasy Mystic Quest that doesn't work. The kid afterwards told me it did work, but the thing is destroyed. It's all the pins are corroded. He's like, oh, it worked fine for me. And I was like, no, there's no way. So I have a dead copy of that. But then it also came with like Donkey Kong Country, a Spider-Man game. I got like 9 games with it for like 60 bucks. And that was a good deal. And I still have it sitting kind of over there with the Zelda 2 Link's Awakening. Why don't I hack my Switch? I've never been into hacking. Like, the only thing I was able to successfully hack is the Super Nintendo Classic. Like, I bought this thing like 4 or 5 months ago for like, I bought it for like 60 bucks, and then like 2 weeks later it went down to 40. And I just suck at hacking. I suck at finding like straight up ISOs. Like, I downloaded everything onto my thumb drive for the PlayStation Classic. I just couldn't actually find ROMs. And people in like YouTube comments, they're all, you know, everyone's like hush hush about it, like, oh, we can't tell you what site it is because they're gonna get taken down. And they're like, oh, it's the first one you mentioned that was really cool. And I'm like, okay, cool ROMs. Then you go on and it's like, someone was like, don't hit the download now tab, hit the, like when you actually click on it, what did they said hit something else, like download later or save to later, something like that. And then even when I did that and like download them, it didn't work, and I never ended up with like the queue in the bin file. And I just suck at doing that. Somehow I managed to figure all of it out. I downloaded the whole entire library for Super Nintendo games onto my laptop. So that folder is easy because now everything's set up. I just plug it in and I just have 700 games to, you know, choose from. And that was easy. It did take a good couple minutes to actually find the Super Nintendo library and then to actually have it work. But that was like the smoothest running hack I've ever done. Everything else doesn't work for me. It's like back in the day too, I tried figuring out how to actually burn like Dreamcast games, because I have a Dreamcast and I only have maybe 8 actual games for it. Like, I got mine super cheap for like maybe like 80 bucks when the thing was dying out. And I mean, the thing was only available to buy on shelves for like 18 months. But I got it for barely anything. And I remember seeing my friend's ex-girlfriend's brother's Dreamcast, and they had this stack of CDs. And I'm like, dude, what are those? And he's like, oh, those are burnt games. And I'm like, what do you mean? And it's like, you put one in, it's the entire NES library. You put another one in, it's the entire like N64 library. You put another one or two in, and it's every like NES game. And then when I tried figuring that out for myself, I'm like, I can burn CDs. I'm terrible at burning DVDs. I can't hack anything worth a shit. And I'm terrible at like downloading and deciphering actual files. So it's just something I've just never been good at. It's like, yeah, I'm old. Got Super Nintendo day one, and 64 day one. Took 7 days to get. I still never got all 120 stars. Like, I tried. I must have got 90. Maybe even more. Even just recently, like a year or two ago, one of my friends, he finally went through and, while he was away at college, he went through and got all 120. Yeah, Nintendo has been on the hunting spree. But I know, like, Cool ROMs exists, and I know you can just go there and download, like, PS1 games, and I just can't figure it out. Like, you go, you download it, and then it's like an installer file, like a .exe. And then it's just like, these aren't games, this is like a something else. It says it's downloading, and then when you open it up, it's just like a something else file. It definitely doesn't have queue and bin files for any games. And that's why I've thought about, you know, you can go on like eBay and find just somebody selling like a thumb drive with a bunch of PS1 games on it. So I've only played that PS1 Classic for maybe a total of 25 minutes. And since I've started YouTube, it just sits up here and it just looks cool. But realistically, I mean, I have almost all the PS1 games that I would be interested in playing. Like, I have probably like 90 or 100 PS1 games. But there's still plenty of, like, I wish my friend would sell them. He doesn't even know the worth of them. But he has all the great PS1 RPGs. Like, Breath of Fire 4 and, like, Suikoden. And all sorts of different ones that, back when, like, 10 years ago when he first showed them to me, like, some of them I was like, oh my god. I was like, I remember seeing some of these covers, like back when we actually had like a real video game store that pretty much had, you know, back in like 2001, they would have like every single PS1 game. Yeah, you said that before, what is Fuse? Is that isn't that like a TV network? Well, actually, I'm sure that's the name of several different things that are sort of similar. Like, I think Fuse is like a TV network as well as like some sort of studio. It's a Switch game to learn how to program. I might have like seen it, kind of just glancing. Oh, it's not out yet? Oh, I thought you meant it was out. No, I don't think I've seen that then. Get back here. You know, now that you mention that, I probably did watch that video, and I just didn't watch it thoroughly. Like, is it an actual game or is it just a program? 'Cause yeah, I do think I recall that, where it's just like a dev program for the Switch, and it was like we should have started seeing games like pop up for it, but you haven't really heard much about it really since. Yeah, I imagine doing all that coding is a lot of BS. Like me, I like playing games, I like the final product, but it seems like, depending what you're doing, like if you're like an artist or story or doing audio or music or voice tracking or any other dozens of numbers of things required for a game, like that seems like it's not so bad. But when you're going through these like text documents that are just full of numbers, like that to me would just drive me insane. Yeah, I feel like I keep collecting all this money, but I only have 5. Like, how does that work? I had an NES Classic, and then I was kind of hurting for money, and I sold the thing. Oh no, it definitely wasn't easy before Hackchi. Hackchi just, you know, as long as you got the files, it's just plug and drag. Like, super easy. Like, Hackchi is really easy. For me, it's more like RetroArch, where then you're actually getting into customizing, like, the layout and the amount of games you have, like, per tab and artwork and other miscellaneous files and stuff like that. Alright, so I was already here. I want to try getting to that little spot in the bottom right of the map with that little pumpkin thing. But without like a double jump, I don't think I can get there yet. So I guess I'll get out of here. I'm not good at fighting this, see, I don't know if you increase in speed. Man, I bet translating Russian, like, do you actually know Russian, or were you just using, like, Google Translate? Because I bet that was not fun. I bet that was a giant pain in the ass. And an even bigger headache. Incoming phone call. It's my girl. She's at work, so hold on a second. Yeah, it's RPG-ish. I don't even know what Morningstar is. I don't think. Sounds old school. Oh yeah, Belmont's whip. Fiery whip. Man, I miss Toys R Us. I had both a Toys R Us and a KB toy, like a half mile away from each other, and those were good times. Now the mall that the KB Toys was in actually just closed like a month ago, and the whole mall closed. And the KB toy, that went out like 10 years ago, but it's now like a Greylock, like insurance bank. And my brother works at it, and the great times of going there and looking at the PS1 games and all the cool stuff that they had, those days are just long gone. Now the thing that sucks is that all that cool stuff that you can buy is just all online. So it's like a lot of the similar stuff to that still exists, but you just can't get it at the store. You can't go like look at it first. You just have to buy it and hope that it's good. So yeah, that kinda sucks. Let's see, where am I going? I guess I'm supposed to find some kind of ability. Okay, I knew I had something more powerful. There we go. Much stronger now. So I don't know if at some point you can... I guess you don't jump faster. Probably higher. But it seems like I need a whip. To get over here. Yeah, it's weird how some stores like that, like a KB Toys, you know, some places just don't have them. Or like any store for that matter, how some places they just, you don't see them. I need to get to the save station. Look at that, I only have 2 health. Oh. There we go. There was a door there the whole time. It's kind of weird that first part, everything sort of looks the same.
Sleeping Beauty, you've decided to awaken.
Sheeple, tell me you didn't do this. It doesn't make any sense.
How does it not? After all the sins humans wrought upon us?
Johannes told me what they did to you, and you're right, it's horrible. But what you're doing now is just as bad.
No! No, there you are.
Yeah, my KB Toys went out probably 15 years ago. I think the last thing I got from there was the Virtual Boy, so that was probably 97 when they went out of business. Which I still have. I need to go to my mom's and get that thing. Yeah, I have Virtual Boy.
Join me.
It wasn't the best system ever made.
Only one who understands the pain I feel.
What? I never I was the one that came to you broken. Convinced I was a monster.
This is nonsense.
You told me that our power doesn't make us good or bad. Our choices do. I'd given up on my humanity, but you restored my hope. Don't you remember?
Gasp.
Master Jew, we must return.
It's definitely a collector. I wonder how many of those there are even out there. I need to go to this local pawn. Well, it's not really a pawn shop. It kind of is. It's kind of like an antique sort of pawn shop.
You're here to kill me, aren't you? Then first prove you can find me.
And they have a, last time I went in there, which was probably 6 months ago, they had a Sega 32X there for like, I don't know, like 40, maybe it was like 60 bucks, but it was like complete in box. Like the box was kind of beat up, but you opened it and it looked like the thing had just never been used.
Avail yourself of the powers of hell.
I miss being a kid and like going to all the like local stores, and
You can still
like back in the summer we used to go down to the local Kmart.
might be more inclined.
And that was back in the day when they had demo discs. We would buy these like PlayStation 1 demo discs. I have like several of those. They were like $5.99,
Deeble, wait!
and it'd be like, oh, the new one's out. Because there was like a good year where they had like a spring, summer, fall, winter, like winter 2000 like demo discs for PS1, and it'd have like, you know, like Cool Borders like 2001 and like Tony Hawk 2. Okay, I have to take out the tentacles. I'm waiting for the swipe. Oh. Crap. Yeah, I remember. Perfect Arc. I don't own it, but my brother, he bought it back in the day. And I remember just thinking it was weird that, like, it looked better and how all the levels were pretty much the same as GoldenEye. Like, I always thought that was just weird. And like back then I was like, it's not the better game, but like graphically it's the better game. I just wish they had just sort of redone GoldenEye. Yeah, water enemy, you gotta use fire or grass. Or now Pokemon have like hybrids and stuff like that. Like, I'm curious to play this new one because aside from
So, sleeping beauty,
Let's Go Pokemon,
you've
or
decided
yeah,
to
Let's Go
awaken.
Pikachu, I haven't played any of them.
How
And you're right.
not what the what I am to join. You're the only.
What? I was the one that came.
This is
You. Our power doesn't make. I'd given up on my.
Master Jew,
Is it?
Miriam. You're here to kill me, aren't you? Along the way.
I like that. I wish they'd make a new one that was, you know, half decent. The one on Xbox 360 you know, for being a launch title, it was okay, I guess. I got it like maybe like a year after it came out. It was okay, but it was definitely different than what I initially expected, because at that point I hadn't seen no reviews. Like, you looked at the back of the box still at that point, like 2005. You were just like, oh yeah, this looks good, I hope. Man, there's a whole bunch of food. You don't do Pokemon. Well, right, you're older, so that was probably past your time. I was right into it. Right as it came out, you know, I was like 11. But then after like that summer, and after playing like the Pokemon game, all I cared about was the Pokemon game for Game Boy, and the next like series came out, and I was just over it. Yeah, I know. I wish they had actually done that, the GoldenEye remake, that it looked like that they were actually working on. Like there's like that trailer for it, and it just looks amazing. Because if they updated it with new graphics, like, it'd just be a fun multiplayer game. Uh-oh. I'm gonna die. Yep. I knew it. Yeah, I beat Breath of the Wild. I'm still trying to beat the DLC. Because I was pretty much ready to fight Ganon, like, probably like last year, but I didn't actually fight Ganon until probably like right at the very beginning of this year, like January. And then I bought the DLC and didn't really touch any of it. And I tried live streaming like a month ago, like the Trial of the Sword. But you have to go through all those floors without anything. All your clothes and items and weapons get taken from you. And you start off with like a stick. You can still use like stasis and your bombs. And then you kind of go from floor to floor. And I want to say there's like 30 different like floors. And I keep getting like a dozen or so in. And every time I play it, I get like 1 or 2 floors further. And yeah, don't worry. There's a lot of people that hate Pokemon. I mean, like I said, I like the original ones, and I watched the TV show and stuff. And then I didn't watch it for like probably 2 or 3 years. I came back at one point, saw some of the Pokemon. I was just like, these are not what the originals were. Like, they're not really animals at this point. Like, one of them is like legitimately like a chandelier. with like arms. And it's like, these aren't what the original ones were meant to be. And then it was when I watched the actual anime show again. And there was just all these new characters, and it's like, I pretty much hate Pokemon. Like, I hate what it became, but maybe if I had paid attention to it, like as it had changed and the new stuff came out, maybe I'd appreciate it more, but I just kind of hate what it had turned into just in general. I just don't really care. But I guess that's why I stopped caring, like, in the first place. So it doesn't bother me too much, though. You can hate Pokemon. Personally, like, you can hate or love whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't... I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you have to love what I love, or else I'm gonna block you, which I know happens a lot in today's day and age. It's kind of sad to see. Oh, I thought I got him. Yeah, that's what I thought. Take a screenshot picture of that. SSB, Super Smash Brothers. It's fun when you learn the mechanics, have a few friends, with or without alcohol. Yeah, I'd like to see some of those older games. Like, I can only imagine what they would actually do. Yeah, Super Smash Brothers is...
I saw it.
I played the original one, but I never owned it. I still don't own it.
That was the Jeeble I know.
Even my brother, he never owned it. It was like our friends owned it.
Stop to all this.
And I think I played very little of the GameCube one, and I never played the Wii one. I never played the Wii U one. I did play the 3DS Smash, and I do still have that. And then when the new one came out, there was just so much stuff in it, and, you know, I've probably played it for like 80 hours. I'm not a big fan of like the online, because I'm not personally good at it, so I always get my ass kicked. But I appreciate what the game is, because just how much stuff is in that game, and how it's just this awesome stewing pot of all these different franchises. Like, I respect that part of it, even though I'm not much for fighting games really. But Smash does have that arcadey style, so it's fun. But it's not like I'm not like a hardcore Smash player. I'm not really that good at it, so I guess if I was good at it, I'd be more into it, but I'm just not that good, so... I like some turn-based combat. I guess it depends what it is, though. Because, I mean, that's kind of like saying, like, you don't like third-person or, like, first-person shooting. Some games are just great the way that they do it. Call forth a giant rat. I can... I was thinking about that recently, because I almost bought Excitebike 64. Wait, the 64 version is the best moto. I wish Jet Moto would come back. But yeah, I played a lot of Excitebike 64. That was actually a fun game. For some reason, even though games look better, and even like a indie studio can pull off a arcade like dirt bike game and have it look better than some of like the better games from say like a N64, like PS2, or even like PS3. Like today, a way smaller studio can put out a game that technically looks better, but like the gameplay is always like, I don't know, there's just something about it that's just not as fun as like the way it used to be. Like I like those some of the old rattier games. Like, you know, I like Jet Moto and Wave Race, and I'd like to see those come back. I want a new Hydro Thunder. Like I played a lot of Hydro Thunder in the arcade and on the Dreamcast, and I never played Beautiful Joe. It's actually funny, I've been wanting to buy, it's only $20. They have Beautiful Joe 2. There's 2 copies of it, sealed, at my local Rite Aid, like right down the street. And I have no clue why they're there. There's like 3 other PS2 games that are sealed too, and they're like NCAA basketball and like I think like a Madden, like '04. And then there's this boxed Game Boy Advance like triple pack of these like kiddie like puzzle games.
You know who I am.
And it's like they're next to like the Blu-rays and stuff, and you're like searching through, and then you see Beautiful Joe 2 sealed on the PS2, and they have it priced at $19.95. And I thought about buying it because I never played either of those.
Sooner, Dominique.
So this is our contact.
Yes, the church sent me.
There was a lot of good games from those times.
An exorcist. Then we're lucky to have you, Dominique.
And the church you, Miriam. Thank you for guiding her here, Johannes.
See, I still don't have the Master Cycle. I also want... Oh, what was I just gonna say? I just had a brain fart. Oh, I also want the frickin' Breath of the Wild amiibo. Like, up until maybe like 6 or 8 months ago, like I had no idea that you could actually turn into the wolf. Well, sort of, and run around in Breath of the Wild with the wolf. Like, I didn't know that that was actually even in the game. Yeah, Wave Race was cool. I haven't played that in a long time either. That's on the... I think that's on the Wii U eShop, which I've thought about buying, because again, it's only like $9.99.
You wouldn't have asked if it wasn't important.
Yeah, Beautiful Joe 1, I think. It's the better game, right? But 2 is... like nicer looking because it had more money behind it and like more time and more people, I think. But I think it's the first one that's better.
She deserves to be armed with all the facts.
Yes, very well. I told you when I contacted you that the Shardbinder Jebel is responsible for summoning the castle.
Gerbil.
Yes, there's no mistake about that.
What?
Then let me get right to the point. I find it curious that the outpouring of demons, facilitated by one Shardbinder, just happens to coincide with the sudden awakening of the other Shardbinder after exactly 10 years.
You're right. It is strange. But the church doesn't get to drag Miriam into this just because the timing is odd.
Oh, do you decide for her then? I asked you to bring her here so she could see the horrors that have befallen the village and make an informed choice. I have no intention of forcing you, Miriam.
Yeah, that new Breath of the Wild. Hopefully...
I gave Jebel my word that I would stop him.
I'm hoping that they didn't do
only strengthens my resolve.
like what they keep doing and announcing it way beforehand. Because it seemed like, you know, in 2017, I guess, it seemed, I guess at that point, to make sense to announce like Metroid Prime 4, knowing that like, you know, we're gonna need like 1.5 to 2 years before like all these like giant Nintendo known IPs like Smash and stuff are actually gonna roll out. And it seems like they announced that one too early, and then they kind of the same thing with Animal Crossing, where it's kind of weird that they're the ones that said 2019, And they also said 2018 for Yoshi, and then we just didn't hear anything about that game for 9 months. And then it's like, oh yeah, it's coming out in 3 months. Like, oh, finally. And then basically the same thing with Animal Crossing, where it's like 2019. And even though if it was ready and it was going to be coming out in the next, you know, at the end of this year, they still probably would have showed it at E3. But then they're like, oh, that's right, it's kicked back to next year. And then it seems like almost for that, they showed us the Breath of the Wild 2. And then, like, hopefully that's not 3 years away and that they didn't show it way too soon.
Thank you, Miriam.
But I think
am
that's
sorry
possible.
to put it on your shoulders.
Pardon me? Oh, hello there.
Yeah, I haven't really been paying too much attention to the dialogue.
I'm all right, thank
Like, I figure it's the typical
Do you
kind
have
of
a
thing
name?
going on. This chick on the left, I'm almost waiting for her to, like, rip off the wig and it's Bayonetta underneath there, because she kind of looks like her in like, her stance.
Anne.
What a lovely name. Anne, you shouldn't be out here.
Oh, all right.
Come on, this way.
I can't wait to see the part that turns into like 8-bit.
I did some looking around.
That would be
before,
cool.
And this place
Although I think
seems secure.
Breath of the Wild is probably the end of next year. But it might not be. It might actually come out like, yeah. It could come out in like the spring. Or that'd be awesome if it came out at the end of this year. Even that might be possible because they did, you know, Breath of the Wild came out in May and then immediately they were talking about like DLC and then that didn't come out till like November. And they basically released that like all, or no, the first one came out in September and the second one came out in November for the DLC, and then after that they were like, no, we're done with DLC. Like, the game is finished. There's no more for Breath of the Wild 1. So I'm sure at that point they were already starting on the next game, figuring out what they were going to have to do. There are, like, a lot of good games. Well, it sort of seems like that, but I guess it depends what you're actually into playing, because at this time last year, when they first showed off, you know, they showed more on, like, Fire Emblem, and they showed Daemon X Machina, and it was like, oh, those are going to be, like, the heavy hitters. And even still, it's like those are just coming out. Like, it's been a while since we actually first saw those. Or, like, the end of last year, September, I think, was when they showed Daemon X Machina. But at that point, we still had Smash coming out. So it's been a little bit weird how the release schedule has been. But of course, those are just the big games, because then every, like, not this past week, but in another week or two, we're going to see some other big release, even if it's a little bit of an older game, or even if it's something from like a year or two ago. It's like some studio will announce something and it'll be coming out on Switch or whatever it is, and there's always something new
You,
coming out.
Anne and I will remain here. We can assist Miriam from safe ground.
That would be cool.
What? We can't ask her to brave...
Don't be foolish. She is trained in combat. Are you? We would only get in the way.
That's not the point.
I'll
It
be
is the
fine,
point.
Johannes. Please don't worry.
I have no clue what the hell you're talking about.
But we'll be here if you need us.
Like, I haven't paid attention to any of this. I don't know who the people are. I don't know what the guy is.
Anything. I'll get a workshop running so I can perform out.
Thank you, Johan.
I know you're strong, but be careful.
I will.
Okay, so the guy is the friend zone dude. He ain't getting none, but he'll craft. He's gonna craft stuff for me. So that's cool. A waystone. I'm wondering about Astral Chain. Like, there's a lot of people that are hyped for it. They got it on the radar. They're going to be getting it.
Ah, here she is. I have to marvel at the church's resources.
But I'm wondering by the time it actually comes out, what else will be out for other systems at that time. Especially because it comes out in... Right, it's the end of August, so it's kind of between like Fire Emblem and then just a few weeks away. You then have, what's at the beginning of September? But you have Dragon Quest coming, and then Link's Awakening, and at that point, you're just several more weeks away from the new Pokemon. And then it depends what else comes out at that time. Yeah, same thing for Bayonetta. Kind of got
It's incredible.
revealed,
So, what I can do for you
really
here
just
in
like a
Bloodstained
logo.
is take materials you bring
But that happened too early, and it's been 2 years and still haven't heard anything other than
easier to show you
that, yeah, it's still being developed.
I have some materials we can...
But that seems like something people are dead set on
What'll it be?
it being announced and shown off and given a release date at the Video Game Awards, which is like the last week of December. So I guess that's possible. Alright, how do we craft here?
I'll go with this. I'll go with this.
Kind of want to try this out.
I'll go with this.
Yeah, I guess we'll do it.
There, all done.
It was a little bit lame. Like those first couple days were, yeah, they were kind of disheartening. But like, you know, it's like I said, like announcements are always coming out. So I really think for all companies it would have been better if for like the month before E3 they just literally don't show anything. They don't say anything, they don't tweet anything. But if like 2 months before that they prepare that area with like a new game that's coming out like the week before E3. That way it comes out, you play it a couple days, E3 starting, you at least for like the Switch you get like a shadow drop, or you know, at least for Xbox like you get like the Game Pass, which I actually won a free month of the Game Pass Ultimate. There was a live stream I was watching and one of the guys came back and he had like 2 codes for the Game Pass Ultimate. And he dropped them in the chat. If it was like a Switch game or something, someone would have jumped all over that. And I saw nobody like messaging in the bottom saying that they were going for it. So I just like slowly turned the Xbox on and I punched in the number and I got a free month of it. And it's got a lot of games on it that are even on like the Switch. Like there was like Moonlighter, which I played a little bit of that. I think Advance Wars, or not Advance Wars, the other like Advance Wars clone, that was on it. There's like a whole bunch of games that are on Switch that are also on Game Pass. And I downloaded a lot of them, but I haven't really checked out that many. And it's mostly just, even though I have an Xbox. I mean, it's not really mine, but it can be if I want to take it over. It's just not really something I turn on much. I really only turned it on for like Red Dead and like Resident Evil 7, and my girl bought like the Spyro triple game on there, but she didn't even play it. Same for RE7. She bought that for herself. She played a couple hours into it and then just stopped playing it. See, Metroid's kind of one of those weird games, like, you know, they're still hiring an art director, it seems like, so the game could be a little bit into development. Personally, before I heard that, I thought maybe it was actually a little bit further than we thought, just because, you know, depending on how bad everything was that was made from the initial reveal, I figured, you know, maybe the original team that worked on it, you know, maybe they saw some of this stuff and they went, you messed up, but you didn't mess up that bad. Like, some of this stuff is still salvageable. But it sort of seems like that wasn't the case. Yeah, I hope we get a new F-Zero. It sort of seems like a 50-50. Tiny Metal. What is Tiny? That's a game, right? Or, wait, Tiny... Aren't they a developer? I think. Sounds familiar. Yeah, aren't they don't they make games? Tiny Meadow? Sounds familiar. You're not playing anything on the Switch at the moment? 'Cause I still gotta beat Cadence of Hyrule. I probably have like maybe between 20 minutes and like an hour left on that. I had fun with that game.
What items you can make from what material. But when it comes to items I don't know about, also the demon crystal you've obtained, the shards, those can be transmuted. Each shard requires specific materials, but it's worth it to make your shards more useful. Try it when you get the chance.
I think...
Also, neither one of us has been eating well. No wonder. If you bring me the ingredients, I can use out with proper nutrition and a varied diet. You have the potential. Are you eating properly?
Nope.
What are we transmuting this time?
I'll go with this.
There, all done.
Wait, it was called Tiny Metal? I thought it was called... Is that a different Advance Wars clone? Because I'm trying to think of the more recent one that came out. I know it's on Xbox. Oh, what's the name of it? I'm having like a massive brain fart right now. I don't think I've ever even heard of Tiny Metal. Yeah, Wargroove. This was the one. Yeah, this one's on Xbox as well, and this is like a Advance Wars kind of clone. And I thought about buying this. It's got like the same map, it's got the same dual screen kind of animations and stuff. Yeah, Chucklefish. Yeah, there's so many games that come out. And I used to pay attention to them all week by week. And then, okay, yeah, I know I've looked at this before. When Nintendo said that they were going to start doing like 25 indie games per week, that's just when I got lost in the sea. Did you ever see that? See, I already forget the name of that game that I just looked at. Wargroove. Because that has more of like a straight clone kind of look to it.
Johannes, can you tell me more about what happened?
Yeah, it looks good. I might have to try Advance
It
Wars.
started when the interests of the rich shifted away from the spiritual and esoteric in favor of more.
I'm not much on strategy RPGs, but I haven't really played many.
Research was expensive.
Like, I gotta re-download and try to get into,
Want to lose their wealthy patrons.
like, I have Valkyria Chronicles 4 that I won. I won a code for that in a live stream. And I had played the demo before, and I downloaded it. It's like 18 gigs or something, though. And then I started playing it, and then I bought something else at some point, and I ended up, like, archiving it so that I'd have more space. And then I never re-downloaded it again.
Are you eating properly?
And I definitely would like to, because that game, it looks like it's fun once you actually get into it. Like, I saw some reviews that said, like, you know, if you're a newcomer and you never really played the series, or if you're not familiar with strategy RPGs, you need a good couple minutes, and then once it actually clicks, it'll click, and then you'll actually want to play it. I might check out Advance Wars though. Because like I said, all three of them are on the Wii U, so there's... Right, isn't it just the first one, and then isn't the second one... Isn't it just Advance Wars 2, and then the third one has a subtitle? It's called, like, I think you had mentioned it before.
Miriam, well, since this is your first time here, let me tell you a little... I have made arrangements so you can buy and sell items here. I would have liked to provide what you need for free, but seeing as we are largely cut off from the church's funds out, I will need money in order to keep the supply post stocked.
No, I understand.
I can also buy shards from you, if you no longer need them.
Wait, is trade in demon shards even allowed?
Of course. The church would sooner gather them up and make certain they are... I am not permitted to sell them, but I can buy them off you. You may want to keep extras, since possessing multiple shards of the same type amplifies its power. And more importantly, if you carry a large number of shards, your body's corruption
may accelerate, but I'll find a way to deal with that myself.
I still recommend selling your shards as a means.
All right. I know you're looking at...
I think that explains everything. Now, would...
Sure. It's funny how in games it's just for buying stuff. Oh no. Is my stream out again? Oh, don't tell me it is. Oh wait, I was loading there for a second. Right, we're good? Yeah, I think we're good. It started loading and I was like, oh no, not again. But yeah, it's funny how in games you get money, and then in something like this, you have like the shopkeeper, and they're like, well, I'm broke, so all you have to do is pay money, and you know, we'll have things stocked for you that you can spend more money on, or more resources on, and then you can actually buy it from us.
Is this right? Thank you.
Yeah, sure, I'll take one of those.
Is this right? Many thanks.
Man, there's a lot of items here.
Is this right? Many thanks. What are you looking to sell? Is this right? Then we have a deal. Is this right? Thank you. What are you looking to sell? Oh,
Alright, I'm done with you for now.
it's the key to the building. Thank you.
Oh,
I invited the other survivors
thanks.
inside where it's safe.
Right, there's only 3 Advance
They all
Wars
have
games, right?
troubles that need resolving. If you can, I'll do what I can. I know you will.
Did you watch, I sort of started watching it earlier, but I don't know if you know Player Essence. He had a video, he got, I guess, invited to go play the game, and he has like a 15-minute video or something like that. I'm not sure if he actually got footage, because like I started watching it, and then, you know, like distracting kid and stuff like that, I didn't really get to watch it, but he got to play it, and he has a video talking about it, so I don't know. Because even though we know what the game is, and even though I never played it, it's like you know kind of what to expect from a Fire Emblem game. But it is weird that in all the trailers, they kind of just showed more of the story element and the characters,
Miriam.
and they didn't really seem to show much of the you know, the on-field like battle and the strategy and stuff like that that's actually involved with the game. Because there was some people, you know, after seeing CG trailer after CG trailer throughout E3 for a game like that, it was like, how come we're not seeing, you know, actual gameplay of it? And that was some people's points that they made.
You won't do it.
I don't know if I want to
Have you learned anything new?
take on.
Turned up on the monsters. Help my husband rest in peace.
Kill that murderer dead. Yeah, I know that it's very story driven. And the first time we saw it in the direct, you know, they went on about the monastery and about the 3 houses, and you know, a lot of the story, and then we saw it again and they kind of did the same thing. And then I think there was like an actual like secondary trailer that they showed that was kind of the same thing, and then to see it at E3 and have it just be more about the story, people were kind of like, where, like, is there something wrong with the game? Is there like a reason they're not showing the gameplay? And I wasn't worried about it, but I did think that was weird that they just kind of weren't showing it. I think actually if you search up Three Houses, there's really maybe like 30 seconds of them actually running on the field, and it looked great, but there's not much footage really of them actually on the field, seeing like your people like run around with the grid actually down, and then seeing like the gameplay. It seems like there's not very much. There's not very much of that. I gotta collect that gill. You're lucky this wall's between us, buddy. That was a power swing. I mean, I don't really watch too much OJ anymore. I kind of had it out with him a little bit. But he kind of says every game's going to be Game of the Year. Like, it's Fire Emblem Three Houses, then it's Breath of the Wild 2, then it's Astral Chain. And I mean, I think he just kind of says that about every upcoming hyped game, just up until it's about to come out. And that way, every video can seem super hyped. Because if you always have a game that seems, you know, and he's big into the RPG, like that's his main thing in terms of the videos he does. Which is kind of funny that he used to say doing just voiceover with gameplay was like lazy, and he actually used to film himself, and now he just, like all his videos, they're just gameplay with his voice. Yeah, I don't think it's probably Game of the Year either. I mean, well, you know, usually when people say blank Game of the Year, it's more like my Game of the Year. When you actually say like Breath of the Wild, that'll be like Game of the Year. That's more realistic. But for something like Fire Emblem, I mean, it's just not big enough. That won't even hit the chart. Even something like Smash Bros. That came out, you know, at the end of last year, and even though it's like, it's just, it doesn't have a chance. It just gets lost in the shuffle. Man, that Metroid Prime trilogy. I swear, it's just, they should just put it out. Like, people, you know, some people are just speculating on speculation, on others' speculation, but it seems like there's enough people out there that said, like, no, this game is real. And that it should have been shown at the Game Awards, like Reggie Fils-Aimé, he had his Metroid shirt and stuff. It seems like it really should have been shown at that point, or if, since we know the game's delayed, it's like, do they just sit on that game for the next 3 years and then release it? It's kind of like when Bayonetta 1 and 2 came out. People thought, okay, we're going to get this, and then in the next 6 months, we should hear about Bayonetta 3, and then, you know, after Bayonetta 1 and 2, the double pack dropped on Switch the end of 2017, I think. So I don't know, but it seems like that Prime trilogy is out, which at this point I've just thought about. I mean, I don't like motion controls really that much, and it's on the Wii U, and I could buy it digitally, and I did buy Metroid Prime 3. It was like $10, so I have that on the Wii. Well, I have it for the Wii, for my Wii U, but I did play a little bit of it, and without playing the other ones, I just was like, I don't want to start in the middle of the third, like, and people said the third was good. I think even some people say that's their favorite one, but I suppose I'd rather play just the first one, because I never played any of those games. Like, I don't know, for some reason, when the GameCube first came out, I didn't have one. I bought one off my friend, and he gave me like a good trade on it, but back then I was playing the Xbox and PS2, and not many people had a GameCube. And it, for some reason, it just wasn't that big around me. And even then, I only had several different games for it. Like, I didn't have many games for it. And Prime Trilogy, or the first two Prime games, were just ones that I missed out on somehow. It's kind of weird how some games just some people don't play. And it's like, even right now, I'm playing through... Like, I just bought, like, last week or the week before, I bought Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS because I never played it. And Luigi's Mansion 3 is coming out, and I had Dark Moon, but I pretty much got rid of it. I bought it, I paid like $10, and it was, when I first got me and my kid a 2DS. And so I got Super Mario 3D World, or 3D Land. I always forget which one is which. I think it's World or Land that's on the DS. But I paid like $10 and got that and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. I figured I wasn't gonna really play Dark Moon, and there's plenty of reviews that say that it's not that great for a Luigi's Mansion game. But even after beating the first Luigi's Mansion, I'm still kind of curious to play that one a little bit. At least before the third comes out. Because most people say it's bad, but if I play the Dark Moon, or if I play Luigi's Mansion 3 and then play Dark Moon, well, that's the thing, I'll never play Dark Moon. I'll play Luigi's Mansion 3 and then just be over it. So I've thought about playing that, but it's just weird that Luigi's Mansion was a game I saw back in the day, but I didn't have my GameCube till probably, like, I was a freshman in 2002, so that was probably about when I got it. So I guess, yeah, at that point, like, the GameCube was still new, but, like, I didn't buy Smash. I basically bought Wind Waker and, like, Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes and, like, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles and Mario Kart Double Dash, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, so same for you. You missed out on, like, yeah, that period had some good games between, you know, PS2 and Xbox. And even the Dreamcast, like, the Dreamcast was just dying, like, Xbox was coming out. That was a good time. I wish Sega wasn't so stupid with the way that they handled everything, because, like, if they were still around, or if they had a couple more years, it's kind of a shame that they came out with the 32X and then scrapped it just to come out with the Saturn. And, you know, I hope they come out with a Saturn Mini, because I don't recall ever even playing a Saturn. And it's the same for like the Jaguar. Like I'd never even played those systems. Never even set a finger on the controller. So I hope they come out with a Saturn Mini, but I know that emulation is the biggest trick of it. So it's likely that it might never happen. Let's see, I don't think I'm supposed to go down there. I think I'm gonna die. Yeah, see, they might have something where they just can't do it. Like EA, I don't know, it's either there's people just don't think there's like a big enough market for regular but good realistic sports games that aren't licensed, and they think that if they do that they would just like lose out and waste money. Like back in the day they had like Blitz and like these arcadier ones, like the 2K games on the 2K games on like Dreamcast, like those were great. And then, you know, they just kept doing their thing, and now all those games like suck. But it seems kind of weird that companies will only come out with like a kid-friendly looking like crappy kind of football game. Or like on the Switch they did come out with the Mutant Football League. But I mean, they even had Mutant Football League on like the Sega Genesis, so it's just weird that if it's not Madden and if it's not MLB and NFL licensed, that companies just think there's no money to be made, only wasted. But I really think if you came out with a Blitz, you know, like a football Blitz style game, that it could do well. Or that if they put out like another Street Basketball Association and you just cob the name and it's like an NBA street game, that it could do good as long as the physics are good, as long as the game is good. Last EA game I bought was probably SSX Tricky, and that was in the year 2000 or 2001. Actually, wait, no, I did buy SSX on the Xbox 360. Other than that, I can't even think of any other games. Well, actually, wait, no, I was about to say Dead Space, but I think that's the people that made Mass Effect, which is the ones that just made Anthem. I don't know, there's so many studios, it's hard to keep track of all this stuff. Like, companies are getting in trouble, one company makes a bad game, then you're hearing about Bethesda, and then EA, and surprise loot boxes, and then you're hearing about, like, CD Projekt Red making Cyberpunk 2077. Looks like a great game. They're bringing Witcher 3 over to the Switch, you know, with the full game, no patches, on a 32 gigabyte card. Where it's that was easy. Iron, bronze. I gotta say, even though this game doesn't look so pretty on this TV, I'm gonna play it on my downstairs TV later. And then I'm also gonna check it out in handheld mode. And then I might actually look at, cause yeah, I did sort of watch some of RGT85's video, and it really just looked like, the Switch version on the left side was darker. Like, it didn't really look that much different, but sometimes that's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, Epic, Blizzard. It's just crazy because all those companies like used to make good games. Man, why is this are we having like quality issues? Okay, never mind. Games as a service will never become the norm. There's too much fight against it. I don't think any one shitty practice will become the norm, because it's like they try for it and then just many bad examples of that practice comes out and just smothers it, and then the next company comes along and does what was done before, so they're doing the complete opposite, and then it's just praised to the moon and back, and then a couple other companies try to replicate doing that to get in the good graces of us gamers, and it seems to kind of flip-flop. It's like a pancake. Like, this next Star Wars game coming out isn't gonna have loot boxes. It's a single-player story. It'll get praised, it'll probably be a good game, and then in 3 more years they'll do the same thing. They'll go back to like loot boxes, and it's a little bit more janky, and it's kind of online only, and not all of it is on the disc, and you gotta download some of it, and then there'll be another scandal thing, and it doesn't hit the mark, it misses a lot of, sales, doesn't sell well, people get pissed over it, and then it just kinda, I don't know. It's like even with like limited run games, like right now we still have physical media. It's almost like just as popular as ever. But it's also crazy that a lot of these companies, they won't, like they've stopped doing like the MPD and stuff like that. So we're hearing like rough figures of what like systems sold, but we're not getting like the software sales. We're not getting like those exact numbers like we were, which even then those were only like out of Japan. And then they, even when they were doing them before they stopped doing it, we weren't getting digital sales. We've like never gotten actual numbers on what the digital sales are. And I think for some games, for some smaller price games, like it makes sense. A majority would probably buy it digitally if it's just a cheap game. If it's, too big in size, especially for something like Switch, it's like, if it's a 30 gigabyte game and you could basically pay the same price to have it physically on the cart, most people would buy it on the cart. They would just go to the store and they would just buy it on the cart and just say screw it. But it's kind of weird that we never get these numbers for what the actual percentage is. So when they after Smash Brothers being out for 3 months and they're like, oh, we passed 10 million in sales, it's like, how many of that was in physical? I mean, sure, it's Smash Brothers, so a lot of people probably would have bought it physical, but a lot of people just want to play the game. They don't want to bother taking the cart in and out, so they did buy it digital. But then they won't tell you how many sales of that were digital. And then I think they want to kind of swindle people down the road to say like, oh, well, 90% of people are buying physical media, so that, like Rich from Review Tech can make another video saying like, we're heading towards the all digital future, like it's gonna happen. But then it's like you have things, Nintendo's still making a complete physical console. It's like, I think it's gonna stay living hand in hand for at least the next 10 years. Maybe at some point there'll just be no way of doing it. But like even Final Fantasy VII Remake is, it's coming out with... Damn. It's coming out with 2 Blu-rays. And, granted they are... Well, the regular base game will be 60. And then there's the Super Ultimate Cloud on the Motorcycle Edition, which is like $330. Yeah, shipping to it's like $380 just to get it to your door. I mean, I think for the next dozen or 15 years is, you know, yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of that's a little bit BS where it's like the only tech-based company. You know, the way they state that kind of stuff too can be sketchy at times, because it's like, oh, Nintendo was the only tech-based company that saw consistent growth. But, you know, I guess that's a way of wording it differently to kind of single out Nintendo to make them seem like, you know, the winners. And I guess it depends who was writing the article, where it was, all that kind of thing. It's like everyone's got a way of wording things and having like some sort of agenda added to it. So it's not always easy to tell, but you know, we got like xCloud coming out, which is gonna be soon, which even then it's like the next Xbox that's gonna have a disk drive. More than likely the PS5 will, and more than likely those consoles are taking us to 2026 probably at the minimum by the time they actually come out. So if those still have disk drives, you're gonna have xCloud and Stadia and streaming, and it's gonna be like it's gonna be sort of like a third of what the actual console is now, because it's the same with Switch. It's like you have the games Nintendo puts out. They mostly put out games that are both in digital and physical format. A lot of people buy both, that's for sure. But then you have like limited run games that are making a killing. They're putting out limited run physical editions that just sell out immediately.
Miriam, since the
And it almost doesn't even matter what game it's for. They're just,
money. No, I understand.
they just
I can-
sell out.
Wait, of course, I am not. You may want to.
But then
keep
again, I
your
guess it's not as big of a thing
I
as
still-
for
all right, I
Xbox. But then limited run, they also
I forgot. Thank you.
they also
They
make
all have
PS4
trouble.
games,
I'll
and
do
those
it.
sell
I know
out.
you-
Those still have like a good
Did you
amount of
forget something?
sales. Like I think they'll all just sort of coincide with each other.
Is this right? Then we have a deal.
But it's
Thank
weird
you.
to see.
Come back anytime.
Me, I wasn't even gaming when the Switch came out. I didn't even know that the Switch had come out. Like I literally was paying zero attention to gaming, like at all. Like after the Xbox 360, I just kind of stopped playing. So the Switch came out, and then I worked with someone, and he had a Switch, and he was like, "Dude, you gotta like see what this thing is." And I went home and watched a video, and then it just was like, oh man. And I just got really hyped for it. And it was already out. It had been out for like a couple months. And then I basically took my paycheck and I bought one. And that was one of the best decisions I ever made. Because it got me back into gaming. Like it made me like give a crap again. So I was just kind of sick of like the Call of Duty thing. Not that that's really all I ever played, but it was like, oh, the Xbox One is coming out. And one of my friends had it. And I would go over there like occasionally. I'd see him playing it. And the thing had been out for like 2 years, and I had like never even picked up like a controller for the Xbox One. And he had the original one, and the thing was like this big bulky black box. But I just was paying zero attention to gaming at the time. And then I finally got back into it and got the Switch, and then, you know, basically went on from there. Then my girl, she got my kid at Xbox One, and all he plays on it is Minecraft and Roblox. And I like to think that I'm a better father than that, but he just won't have it. He just won't have it. He was playing Hollow Knight the other day on Xbox Game Pass. And then he died once. He went and ran back and like killed his shadow and got the money back. And then I fought one of the bosses for him. And then he died again. I was like, you gotta go back and get your money from the guy. And he was like, no, he's like, I'm not fighting that shadow me. And then he just like he just shut it off and went back to Minecraft. And I was like, come on, you're hurting my feelings. You're gonna make your old man cry. What, the story on coming back into the fold of gaming? Because I wasn't paying attention at all, but like I had bought Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild with my Switch, and I immediately started playing Odyssey. And then that week, I was like, oh, I kind of spent too much. So I brought Breath of the Wild back, got my $64 back, and then, like, several days after when I got paid again, I went out and bought Breath of the Wild. And that was an awesome period of time. Like, putting that on, and I had the monitor that I have over here. It's like a, I don't know, I think it's like 19 inches. But I just had it on my coffee table, just like right in front of my face. And I was like, man, this game is great. Because, I mean, before that, like, well, I kind of explained the story, like, I pretty much did this story before in, like, another live stream. Because someone else kind of asked something similar. But, like, at the time, I was just playing, like, my older, like, Xbox 360 games from, you know, like, 2010. Like, I was still playing some of those, even in, like, 2015. Like, I had my own place. Me and my girl had her own place. And then I saw the South Park Stick of Truth was, like, on sale for, like, $20. And I bought that. And that was, like, one of the first games. That and pretty much, like, SSX. Like, that was, like, one of the newer games that I had bought throughout that whole, like, several-year period that I was actually into. So I played, South Park Stick of Truth. And that was like right around the time where one of my good friends, the one that I was mentioning earlier, he overdosed on drugs. And so that was like the game that I played like around that period. And it slowly started getting me back into gaming, but I was just kind of, you know, I had like gone to GameStop at one point. I bought like, I don't know, for like $20 I bought like Gears of War Judgment. Because the last game that I had played was like Gears 3. And I had remembered that like there was like a new Gears of War game that came out that wasn't great, but it was only like $4, so I bought like that. I had bought like Max Payne 3 on like Xbox 360 for like another $4. I spent like $20 and bought like a Forza, or no, I don't think it was Forza. No, I spent like $40 and I bought Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And then I also bought, there's like another game on Xbox 360, like The Saboteur. And then there was a couple others, and those were like the only games that I had bought, really, along with heavy hitters. Have a Good Night, Man. And from like 2010 to 2017, like, those were like really the only games that I had bought. Well, in between that time too, I had also bought like, I bought like Halo Wars, and then the Halo Combat Evolved like re-release for like Xbox 360. But other than that, along with SSX and the South Park Stick of Truth, that was like maybe like 10 games, and those were like the only newer games that I bought from like 2010 to 2016. And then I got the Switch. And now I've just, I mean, not recently, but for a while I've been buying games that I still have yet to play. Like, I have like pretty good backlog. Like at the end of the year I bought a Wii U, and there's still like, I gotta find time at some point to play like Xenoblade Chronicles X. I still gotta play Xenoblade Chronicles Torna expansion on the Switch. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Now I have to go. Damn, can I get out of here? Huh. Man, it's 11:30. Wow. I've been playing this for 3 hours now. I think I might have to finish this one up soon. It's like, where'd the music go? Max, no barking. Yeah, I think I'm gonna finish this one up here. And I think before that, I'm gonna